why do avoidants pull away the more you want to get close to them? It should seem natural to want to get close, right? And yet something so simple seems to be so painful and impossible. Avoidant partners aren't doing this because they're cold, heartless, and don't care about you. Actually, it's because they care about you that they're terrified to get close. And here are the 7 reasons why. Number 1, closeness feels like control. The childhood of someone that is avoidant involved a lot of conditional love. That meant that love would maybe one moment be here, and the next moment it would be ripped away. If they had too many needs or expressed any emotions, they were punished, they were shamed, they were criticized. They're always told what their needs should be as opposed to actually being acknowledged for their own needs. And so they had to abandon themselves to please their parents. And number 2, they never learned healthy co-regulation. No one held space for their emotions growing up. So when you share yours, it overwhelms their system. Not because you're too much, but because they've never had a model for emotional safety. If anything, they spent their childhood having to regulate someone else's emotions. And it was draining, it was exhausting, and they lost themselves in doing so. And so they're terrified of experiencing that again with you. And number 3, they've internalized shame around emotional needs. Deep down, they don't believe that they're worthy of love. So when you try to love them, they start doubting you. And they start to think, if you really knew me, you wouldn't want me. Again, this comes from their childhood. They had one or both parents that would shame them and guilt them whenever that they did have needs, whenever they had emotions to express. So they've been conditioned that having emotions and needs is a sign of weakness and not allowed. And unfortunately, they will also unconsciously project this onto you and think the same thing about your emotions and needs. And number 4, emotional intimacy triggers old wounds. They associate being vulnerable with exposure and potential rejection because when they were first vulnerable growing up as a child, their vulnerability invited just more pain. And so they close up like a turtle, never to expose themselves again. They fear being seen because they still feel unsafe being their authentic selves. If anything, they really don't even know what their authentic self is. And number 5, they are addicted to freedom and autonomy. Independence became a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that they always had to chase but never got growing up. And so now today they pride themselves on not needing anyone. So when you want emotional intimacy and vulnerability, it directly threatens their identity, the only identity that they could develop to keep themselves safe as a way to cope with their childhood pain. And number 6, they don't have the ability to be emotionally present with themselves. And so therefore, avoidants are completely disconnected from their emotions and sensations in their body. And so trying to be present with you is like building a house on a frozen foundation. It is utterly overwhelming for them, and they are completely underdeveloped in their capacity to feel. And lastly, number 7, they equate peace with distance. For them, things only really feel calm only when there is emotional space. So they keep pulling away to return to safety, not realizing it's also pushing the relationship towards disconnection and actually making conflict and emotional tension worse. And I see this with my clients all the time. The avoidant doesn't even know they're doing this. They just feel tight, flooded, and annoyed. They suddenly need to do the dishes, scroll on their phone, work extra long hours, or just leave the room. Now, here's the thing. You're not off the hook. I guarantee you that if you are attracted and staying in a relationship with someone who is avoidant, you have an anxious attachment or a disorganized attachment. And you are also unconsciously contributing to the doom loop between the two of you. It's not all the avoidance fault. And now here are 4 ways that you are also sabotaging the relationship and pushing them away. Number 1, chasing them after they pull away. You want connection and reassurance. They want space and alone time. And the more that you try to beg for your needs and force connection, the more they shut down. And the more they shut down, the more it pushes you deeper into your own anxiety and panic. Thus, both of you, through your natural coping mechanisms, perpetuate the doom loop and the fear and the pain inside both of you just by naturally trying to get your needs met. And number 2, shutting down and pulling back in response to them pulling away. You try to match their energy by becoming cold as well. But now the relationship is just 2 people avoiding instead of 1 person trying to lean in. The only thing is that their avoidance is to run to safety, but your avoidance is secretly trying to test them to manipulate them to coming back to you. And number 3, over-explaining your feelings. You try to get them to understand, maybe even guilting them into it. But you're speaking from an emotional, fearful state, and they're in shutdown and they're already scared. This simply creates more overwhelm. The more you insist, the more you push, the more you want it, the more you don't get it. And number 4, trying to fake being secure or detached. You think that I just need to detach, but really you're betraying your own nervous system just to manage theirs. In a way, trying to people please to hopefully get them back with you. That's not actually being secure. That is performance, and that is avoiding difficult feelings. Now, most importantly, here's how to break the doom cycle. Mainstream advice will keep you disconnected. This is what you do instead. Start with nervous system safety, not trying to correct the behavior. The avoidant person doesn't need to try harder. They need to learn how to feel safer. And you have to stop managing their reactions and start simply regulating your own emotions. That includes nervous system work, somatic work, reprocessing childhood trauma both subconsciously and through your nervous system, teaching your body to feel safe even when it's scared. Number 2 is to validate their experience without betraying your own. Both can exist, such as saying something simple like this, that I get that closeness and communication can feel overwhelming or very uncomfortable for you, but I also want connection. A sentence like that honors both of your truths without one overriding the other. Most people either go into complete fawning and people-pleasing, abandoning themselves, or they go into aggressive control, trying to dominate and control their partner. The answer is not either of those things. And number 3, stop trying to fix them or change them from your fear and wound. Because if you're the anxious, hypervigilant person, your need to get them to open up might be your own survival pattern. In fact, honestly, it really is. It comes from a place of fear and survival. That is not going to get you more connection. That is you coping with your pain. And so you have to meet your own fear first before you can address the fear that your partner is going through. And one of the most important things I'll say in the entire video is that you have to first feel through your own fear before you can address their fear and be there for them. And number 4, create emotional agreements, not just space. Instead of, okay, just take some space, try something like this. Are you open to reconnecting and trying to address this issue in 20 minutes or so? This gives them option to choose while also expressing how you feel and what you want at the same time. And also realize you're gonna have to give an avoidant person lots of wiggle room because the 25 minutes might end up being 35 minutes. That's your challenge to let go instead of push and control. Meet your own fear first. Now, with my clients, this is what we focus on, not just better communication, but rewiring and retraining the nervous system response to fear, safety, and intimacy. So I want to wrap up with this. Avoidants don't pull away because they don't love you. They pull away because love, intimacy, connection, they've been trained that equals rejection and pain for them. But very likely you are the anxious partner listening to this video, and so my challenge for you is to face your fear of abandonment. And even worst case scenario, if this relationship doesn't work out, work on yourself. That work carries to the next relationship. So with that said, I'll see you in the next video.